and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where Barca are very nearly back. And today, before their return, we're going to be answering some of your questions, including the goalkeeping situation at Barca right now, which is being seen in a whole new light. And we're going to be answering the big question of what is Hansi Flick's best lineup with everybody available. And we're going to be taking a closer look at some of the incredible midfield combinations that we could be seeing in the weeks to come. It is all on the way. I hope you're all doing well. Now let's do this. But today's video, guys, is coming to you courtesy of Manscaped, who indeed are a very big help to the channel, and we have to celebrate here today a brand new signing in the Manscaped squad, because introducing the chairman. That is Manscaped's brand new electric shaver, signed on a permanent deal. And I've got to say, guys, I really like the look here of this product. It has sort of a retro feel to it, which I really like. Really nice design. Very easy to use as well. Designed to give you the ability there to get a real fresh look in super quick time. I think ideal there for mornings. You know, you're getting ready for work. You want to get everything done as quickly as you possibly can. And also here on the chairman, it has Manscaped's Flex Adjust technology, which basically reduces irritation-causing friction there. So it's a really nice feature, fully waterproof as well. You've got interchangeable heads on it. Really nice piece of kit. And if you would like to pick up the chairman, if you'd like to add that to the handy appliances in your bathroom to keep you looking nice and good, you can get 20% off your order simply by using the code TalkFCB at checkout there, guys. Very easy to do. Lots to discover over on manscaped.com, and it is a big help to the channel, so thank you to all of you guys. But if we do indeed, guys, kick off with the questions right here today, and a very good one coming in here. How do we adapt if teams figure out how to beat the offside trap? And I know lots of people here have had concerns about that, maybe teams figuring out the way that we play and sort of finding ways to target it. But this is the thing right now about Barca. You know, we've been playing this way all season, especially ahead of Bayern, ahead of Real Madrid. They knew what was coming. They knew exactly what to expect from us. It wasn't as though here we surprised them with the offside trap. And that, for me, is the beauty of what Hansi Flick is doing. That's the beauty here of the way that we're playing. We are in control. We are the ones there who are setting that defensive line where we want it. You know, we're not being pushed back. We're not allowing teams here to come to us and put us under pressure, and then we're dropping back, and then we're giving them the authority. No, we are the ones who are nice and high up the field. We are stopping those attacks at source. And if the organisation is there, as we've seen so far this season, and if every single player is buying into it, it is not going to be easy for teams to breach that. Let me just say that right there. And we're hearing at the moment in the media, you know, an interesting quote that's come out apparently at half-time during the Clasico. Whether this is true or not, we don't know. But Hansi Flick apparently there told every one of his Barca players, if you take a step back, if you drop back in this Clasico, I will take you off. That was how firm and how determined he was that we keep that line high. We stand up. We keep belief in what we're doing. And he said, look, anybody that deviates away from that, you will be coming off there. So the players know exactly what's expected of them. And we've just faced the team, don't forget, in Real Madrid with some of the best attacking players in world football. They're also one of the quickest teams in world football. And yet, we caught them offside 12 different times in that game. They couldn't crack it. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't find a way through. And like I say, as long as everybody stays together and the organisation is there, teams will find it tricky to get in behind us. Then though, guys, I do think it's very important that we talk here about the goalkeeping situation right now at Barca, because I've got to say, everything has changed. The whole feeling has changed very quickly on this one, of course, because we had Inaki, Pena, then Szczesny arrived, and I think most of us expected him to take over. We were expecting here, especially ahead of those high-pressured, big games, that Szczesny maybe, with that experience, would get the nod. But I think it's so important to keep pointing out here, Hansi Flick put his trust in Pena. I think many of us here expected him to change. Many of us thought that was going to be the obvious move. But he trusted in what he had. And I think he maybe saw Inaki Pena in training. Maybe he saw there the potential that he could have. And that maybe he could step up in those big games. and look at how he's rewarded him, because I'm still wowed, to be perfectly honest with you, from what we saw from Pena against Real Madrid. I think it was an absolutely outstanding performance. You know, he didn't just do well, he didn't just do good. Let's give him the full credit that he deserves. It was a stunning display there. He was a vital part of that whole defence. You know, we talk about the high line, we talk about the fact there that we kept Real Madrid at bay, but him between the sticks, absolutely vital as well. So huge game from him. But this is what I'd say right now. I want Pena to kick on from here. I want this to be a catalyst in his whole season at Barca, because obviously last season as well, there were a few bright moments from him. I remember he had a brilliant game, made some outstanding saves early on in the season against Atletico Madrid. That was a big game, that was a big moment, but he didn't quite kick on from there. He wasn't able to carry that confidence through. So what I want to see from him now is that consistency. And I think there's two things there that could help bring that right now. Number one, he's got all of that experience from last season to fall back on. You know, it's not an unfamiliar position that he's in right now. He's been called upon again. He's the number one with Ter Stegen injured. He knows what this is like. Now he can be ready to perform. And I think he knows that if he keeps playing like this, he's got the whole season as the number one. You know, it's a massive opportunity for him. But I think number two, and even more importantly, the defence that we have, the organisation that we're seeing in that back line ahead of him, surely that gives you confidence. Surely there as a goalkeeper, to see the defence playing the way they are, to see them as organised as they are, that must help you as a goalkeeper. And surely as well, he can really build from that. And just on Wojciech Szczesny, guys, a lot of people are saying here, was this not what he would have expected when he came into the club? Was this not what was really agreed upon? But remember, even when he came in, there was absolutely no suggestion that he'd had any guarantees. You know, everybody put that rumour to bed. And I would just like to point out what Szczesny actually said before the Clasico. He was asked basically, should you start this game? If you were Flick, would you start yourself ahead of Pena? He actually said no. You know, to be fair to him, he said there, Inaki Pena has not given Flick a reason to put him on the bench. He said, we talked a lot. I've told the manager I'm 100% fit, but the team is working well. And Szczesny said, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. And he went on further. He said, if I were to put myself in the manager's shoes, I wouldn't play myself right now either. I'll have the opportunity to play later on, but right now the team is working well, and that's the most important thing. So don't think there that Szczesny, you know, behind the scenes is causing any problems, making a fuss right now. Even he said in his own words, Pena has done nothing wrong. He's given Flick absolutely no reason to change, and now even more so after the Clasico. And I've personally seen Szczesny, guys, as a really good influence there, particularly when it comes to Pena. I think the relationship between the two of them has already been very close. You know, you see the good feelings with them in training together, during the warm-ups as well, before some of the big games we saw them together, and the way that he greets him after games too. I think he's also given Pena really good confidence just by being here too. So Szczesny, waiting for his chance. I'm sure that he will get games, you know, he will get an opportunity in a Barca shirt, but right now, we have to give credit to Inaki Pena. However, guys, by far and away, probably the most common question that I get on the channel, and I fully understand it, what is Hansi Flick's best team? I think we all wondered at different points this season, you know, when everybody comes back, when everybody's fit, and we're getting there, what is Hansi Flick going to line up with? You know, what is actually the best team that we have? Now, for me, right now, in terms of the performances that we've seen this season, and on a consistent basis, this, for me, would be our best team as of right now, in this moment here. Based on concrete performances this season, you know you've got that back line. They have been so incredibly solid. Casado and Pedri there holding in midfield. I think Olmo at 10. I know that he got injured, but I think during the time that he was in the team, it was absolutely formidable. That attacking quartet there, Yamal, Olmo, Rafinha, Lewandowski, they were absolutely relentless in the way they went about their game. And that's why, for me, that team right there, it's our best 11 based on what we've seen. However, there are players to come back, because already there, when you're looking at the centre-back positions, we've spoken about it a lot. Rajo, not all that far away now. Christensen, we're not exactly sure, but probably not too far either. So those two are going to come back in at some stage. But for me, guys, again, I'll just say it here, the team you see right there, they're in on merit. So I think anybody, and I mean anybody here, coming back in from the outside, they're going to have to work. You know, nobody is just going to step immediately back into the team. I think you already see it there with somebody like Frenkie de Jong. You know, we're building up the minutes, we're building up the fitness, but he's a massive player. He's a big name, he's a big earner, of course, in the squad, and yet he didn't just walk back into this team. You know, he's had to earn it here, he's had to wait, he's had to be patient, wait for his opportunity, and I think looking at somebody like him, he then has to come on and show what he did against Real Madrid. You know, those are the kinds of performances that if you're on the outside, you've got to be giving those. You have to be doing absolutely everything and proving yourself from the moment that you step onto the field. And Frenkie de Jong took a massive, massive step there in the impact that he made against Madrid. I'd also look at Fermin Lopez. You know, he was waiting for an opportunity. He came straight back in against Bayern, and he showed absolutely everything that he can offer. And again, these are big performances. These are big statements that Hansi Flick, he will be looking for. But with that said, guys, we have to look at some of these combinations. We have to look here at the kind of options that we have in these midfield areas right now, because it's off the scale. Genuinely, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like the kind of players that we can have right across our team, right across the heartbeat of that lineup there. Because obviously, like I say, you've got Frenkie de Jong, you've got Gavi as well, who again is building up those minutes slowly but surely. Fermin is there. Then you've also got players who played in midfield this season, Pablo Torre, Eric Garcia. They've had impacts, you know, they've been very, very important at times when they've been called upon, and they're just there in case you need them right now. Incredible, incredible depth. And I would be really, really intrigued to see more of Frenkie de Jong and Marc Casado. First of all, at the base of that team, at the base of our midfield, you know, what can they do as a duo? How can they work together? Because in the time that we saw them sort of quite briefly in the Clásico, I thought it was an interesting dynamic. I thought it worked very, very well. They covered a lot of bases there in that midfield, but the problem obviously is you still always want to see Pedri. You know, you don't want to just cut him out the team. He has to be there. So I think it depends on the kind of game, on the kind of circumstances, because you can have Frenkie de Jong alongside Marc Casado, and then you can have Pedri as the more advanced player. Now, we saw that for a period there in the Clásico when Flick was looking for a bit more control. He was looking to get on the ball more. He was looking maybe to just understand and control the tempo of the game. So depending on the game, you could go with something like that, which maybe would be classed as a little bit more conservative. But then, of course, you also want to see other players, because then you've got the opportunity to rotate when needed. If you need to rotate Pedri, which, let's be honest, we definitely do, then you can bring in somebody like Dani Olmo. Then you can bring in somebody like Fermin Lopez. So you've got lots of options here to really control things and really manage your squad well. But then what about Gavi? Because you're talking about including Frenkie, you're talking about keeping Pedri around, then using players like Dani Olmo. You don't want to drop Marc Casado. Where does Gavi fit into all of this? And I don't mean that, by the way, guys, in terms of, oh, where's he going to fit? You know, he's not really going to be able to fit anywhere. What I actually mean is, he can fit in so many of those positions there. He can do so much in that midfield, because he could be one of the two. He could be actually more withdrawn, playing as the 6. Hansi Flick has said it himself that it could happen. Can you imagine? And I've said before, I want to see Casado alongside Gavi. I just want to see all of that energy in midfield. Please let us see it at some point. We've got to see that as a duo there. You add Fermin to that midfield, and it's the most high energy, high intensity midfield you've ever seen. But also with Gavi, he could play as the more advanced player. Obviously, we've got options stacking up in that position, so maybe that wouldn't be the chosen one there in terms of what you do, but he can play in the more advanced role, in the 8, as Hansi Flick has called it. He can play there. But I would just like to throw another option, another one outside of the box just out here right now, because lots of people have also said we need to rest Rafinha. And you know what? I completely agree with that too. He is one of those players in the squad that, for me, you've got to make sure that you look after him, because the last thing that you would want is a Rafinha injury, because he is so instrumental there, both on the ball, but especially off it as well. You know, he's the player who starts that press. He is leading from the front line, and he's probably the player, by the way, guys, who completes the most high-intensity sprints every game. So that, of course, puts up the risk of injury a little bit more. He needs to be rested whenever possible, and of course, you do have the possibility here, with so much quality in that midfield. You've got somebody like Dani Olmo playing the 10. He can move around. He can be very, very flexible in his position. You've got the midfielders there deeper. And my question then would be, could you actually use Gavi on that left-hand side, because obviously at times as well, Rafinha, he's not out there anyway. We're happy to give that wing to Balde. You saw it in the Clasico there with him coming forward at ease. Gavi then can come inside. He can also initiate that press. He is brilliant there in terms of hunting down the ball, bringing that intensity. He could really replicate that kind of energy that we get from Rafinha, and he can also then operate in those pockets, in between the lines there, combining with Dani Olmo, very similar to the setup that we saw in El Clasico here, with two central attacking midfield players. Could that be an option for Hansi Flick? And this is what I mean right now, guys. There are so many options, and it's good. It's good that we don't know who's going to play. It's good that we don't actually know that when everybody's fit, when everybody's played, we don't know what the best team is. We know what it has been up until this point. We know the players that have performed so far this season, and they're going to take some shifting, but we still don't know the full potential of this squad. And that is the incredible thing. That is the incredibly exciting thing. There's probably more to come. There is probably more that you can get out of this squad when everyone's back. And can you imagine that? I mean, sit back for a moment and just think, this is the beginning. We are now about to see the full squad of players, the full wealth of options that Hansi Flick has at his disposal. And I, for one, can't wait. I cannot wait for these coming games, because it's going to be immense, guys. And I would like to know, what would be your best lineup right now? You know, what have you seen so far this season? Who would make it into your best team? And if you had to play, for instance, a Champions League final tomorrow, what would your team be? Who would start? Who would come on? Who would you look to get the win? I am interested to know what you are feeling, and we are going to see all of these combinations take shape, all of these players getting opportunities in these matches to come, and it is going to be an amazing time for us. I am sure about that, guys. So please let me know all of your thoughts down below. I will see you soon for the match preview coming on Saturday. Thank you indeed for your support, and a big shout out here to Manscaped today. But until next time, guys, as always, Vejka, El Barça.